Have you ever wondered what it really takes to make Agile work? Well, at the Global Agile Summit, we're bringing you real-life, first-person stories of Agile succeeding out there in the real world that will inspire you to take action. Whether you're a leader, a product innovator, a developer, you'll hear practical insights from those who've done it. They'll be telling their own stories from the stage. I'll tell you more about this at the end of this episode, so stay back and listen to the full detailed description of what we have in store for you at the Global Agile Summit. But if you can't wait, you can go right now to globalagilesummit.com and check out our full schedule. For now, on to the episode, but I'll see you at the end of this episode with more details on the Global Agile Summit. Talk to you soon. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our TGIF Friday and Product Owner episode this week with Richard Brenner. Hey, Richard. Welcome back.
Hi, Vasco. Thank you.
So, Richard, Friday is, of course, the Product Owner episode, and we will talk about what great product owners do. I'm interested in that also because you've been a product owner, so you have first-person experience and opinions about that. But first, let's dive into the opposite, the product owner anti-pattern. So share with us, Richard, what might have been potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career.
That was a fun question to think about. And I have one person really in my head. And I would call it the sponsor and also technology-interested medical doctor. So this was a very high management position. He also hired the company where I was part back then as a developer. And he was taking from a client perspective also the role of a product owner for that project. We've started with one team, then later I think up to 4 Scrum teams working across Europe on that product. And first of all, this product owner was having very concrete ideas about the technology and how we should build the solution because he knew his clients. And we came up with it very, let's say, back then I was also part of the development team, and we had a very cool solution in terms of technology, like a domain-specific language. I'm not going into more details here, but a really cool thing. And we also discussed a lot about semantics of that language. Where do we put this, and how can we make sure everything? So it was really cool. For me, that was a project in the first place where I thought, yeah, we are a cool agile team. We have a top project manager on our side. We have a good and empowered product owner who can decide. I thought it was a good thing, up until the point where we first delivered the project to actual clients of that particular company, where we found out they cannot use that software. They cannot work with that. And then I realized we also became a user experience guy into the project later. And we realized we need to rethink the whole concept, the whole user experience concept, the whole way how people interact with the software. And for me, that had huge learnings in terms of involving your end customers early in the process, showing some MVPs early on, testing with real users. Also, this clear separation, who is the sponsor and who is actually using the software. And also making me fan of the whole user experience topics, and because ultimately we were lucky and we stayed in the project and we could fix it. But this was a huge learning in terms of a product owner and what the impact is if you just follow follow that without any like sparring on certain decisions.
So what I hear here is that there wasn't anything wrong necessarily, but the problem was that the person whom you thought was the product owner was actually the technical visionary, but wasn't really able to embody and understand the actual end user of the product, right?
Yes, and also a very like inspiring, strong person paying for the project. So it was also someone you needed to listen to as a like a supplier, because we were part of, and I was part of the supplier team. So this was an important person for us, and if he said something, we followed often. Of course, we had conversations, but not on that deep strategical decision detail that the whole user experience concept might not work out for the end users.
Yeah, absolutely. And this highlights the importance of having these two completely different roles, right? Like one is the technology visionary, somebody who owns the idea of what the product should do, and the other is the product owner, which is the person who understands how that idea can be translated into a usable and significantly productive or valuable product, right?
Exactly.
A great story indeed. Okay, but of course, there aren't only bad product owners, right? Like some are amazing at what they do. So, share with us, Richard, the best product owner you've ever worked with. How did they work?
I think before I come to my concrete example, I think one pattern is that they understand that everything they do is a hypothesis and they need to test it on the market. So usually a good product owner knows that he doesn't know anything, or everything that we try to do is a hypothesis we need to test, and also tries to really make sure that we have that feedback loop set up with end users, and that we are able to test early on, and that also really uses the time to talk to stakeholders, clients, and is really actively talking to the end users from that perspective. And for me, it was a bit hard actually to think about the perfect PO, because usually I didn't find this one PO as described in the Scrum guide. Because usually I had it somehow twofold. You have one person who has the money and is probably the sponsor of the whole thing, and one more the strategic part of the role, and one is the more active operative part of the role, who is also creating the stories, really working with the team and so on. But I think one product owner I worked with was also part of a client where I was part of the supplier team. And this product owner, I would call him the coaching product owner, was really also in a way of communicating very good, so that he tried to challenge the team in terms of what he's trying to achieve, and had really good conversations challenging the team to give their best, and also doing on the customer side all the conversations and making sure that we focus on the right things to build, but also is very active part of the development team, and somehow be like inspiring and making them try to do their best job. So very good leader also.
Yeah, and that leadership aspect is actually very, very important, because if we go back to the example we talked about at the top of the show, when you describe the technology visionary, that part of the job is important, right? Like that part of the job isn't wrong. What is wrong is not connecting that with other aspects, like understanding how the users will actually use the product.
Exactly. and it's not hard. It's really hard to see this when you're part of the whole process. It's not so obvious what is missing.
And this coaching stance, though, I want to explore that a little bit more, because obviously, usually we think of coaching as being the agile coach or the scrum master's responsibility, not the product owner's responsibility. But one of the things that you shared actually got me thinking that the role that the product owner brings to the team needs to have some coaching aspects, because the product owner will not be able to answer all of the questions, right? Like, people that are more technical can answer technical questions, but perhaps not so much visionary questions. And then visionary people can answer perhaps visionary questions, but not so much technical questions. And they need to be
Mhm.
able to allow the team to participate in that discovery of knowledge and decision making. And that is the coaching stance.
Yeah, exactly. Because you want, actually, the team needs to decide on how are we building the solution. So if you have a product owner who has this coaching stance, he can somehow also positively challenge the team on finding a good solution for the thing that the product owner tries to achieve for his users. So it's a partnership. And if the partnership is good and you have success, then you see, okay, this is working, and the product owner also makes sure that you get the success or the part of the success because the end users have now a cool thing. Then you have a joint success, and this brings you all together with the product owner.
Joint success. That's a great point. One last thought I would like to have your, or rather, one last question I would like to have your thoughts on is, earlier in the week you talked about the importance of contracting, right? And now we're talking about
Mhm.
PO as a coach. So PO as helping the team to go beyond the coding and testing, and
Mhm.
perhaps designing work that they need to do. I think that here we also need to talk a little bit about contracting, because some teams might not want to be there, right? Like, so what I'm thinking is, how would you introduce the concept and the ideas of contracting to a PO that wants to take that stance, the coaching stance?
Um, Let me think of something I did already. It's not just targeting the PO, but the whole team. Um, yeah, also within our teams here at Tech Talk, we have product owners and teams, and who is expecting what from whom. And what I like to do is this role expectation matrix, where we say, look, I have a PO here, a Scrum Master here, and the developers, and everyone can write down what am I bringing in as a product owner, what am I bringing to the team, and the others can write to the other roles what am I expecting from that role, and then you have a first conversation going on. And of course, when I talk one-on-one with the product owner, I also try to reflect on things that I've seen, like, is the product owner very top down, or is he saying that then I would reflect with the product owner personally or about this coaching stance. But in addition, you can also do this as a joint effort with this role expectation matrix to make sure that everyone knows what you can and what you can't expect from the PO. And also the PO knows what can I take from that things that the people want from me, and what can't I do, and then it's a joint conversation, and it gives you more clarity in the setup.
I'll put the link to the role expectation matrix in the show notes so that people can go and check it out. And also to a tool we've developed here on the podcast called the Product Owner Sprint Checklist, where Scrum
Cool.
Masters and Agile coaches can have an effective and practical conversation with the product owner about what are the responsibilities they are willing and ready to take, and
Mhm.
what the ideal scenario looks like, so that we can kind of set a path to go closer to the ideal scenario. And some of those responsibilities can be taken by the team as well, but then the team needs to be part of that conversation, right? They can't just be assigned those responsibilities, because they are
Exactly.
product owner accountabilities.
Exactly.
Richard, it's been a pleasure. Great week filled with insights. But before we go, Richard, where can we find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
I think my most active profile would be on LinkedIn. So
Absolutely. So everybody check it out. The LinkedIn profile, Richard's LinkedIn profile is in the show notes. And go and ask him a few follow-up questions. Why not? Maybe he has some templates to share with you. And we're always learning as a community. Thank you very much, Richard. It's been a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thanks for having me, Vasco.
Hey, friend. Thank you for staying. Here is all you need to know about the Global Agile Summit. If you've ever suffered or know people who are suffering from agile fatigue, this event is for you. Agile fatigue is that feeling that settles in when we can't really see a light at the end of the tunnel. We get discouraged, especially when conversations revolve around the same old frameworks, the same old buzzwords and theories. We don't feel that energy anymore. Well, the Global Agile Summit is a different kind of event. We're bringing you real-life first-person stories of Agile succeeding out there in the real world that will inspire you to take action and transform the way you work. The Global Agile Summit will happen in Tallinn, Estonia, May 18th, that's the workshop day, and then 19th and 20th, the conference day. And Tallinn, Estonia is one of the most innovative tech hubs in Europe. The Global Agile Summit is hosted together with Latitude 59, which is kind of a citywide celebration of software startups and groundbreaking ideas. And we'll have a shared ticket for you to attend those events as well. So who will be speaking? Well, we've got an incredible lineup of thought leaders in software and Agile. For example, Clinton Keith, the person who literally wrote the book on game development with Scrum, and is busy bringing Agile to the world of game development. You must check his session. The very famous and well-known Jürgen Apelo, author of Management 3.0, will be talking and exploring about AI's impact on leadership. We also have Gojko Adzic, who's taking an unconventional look at the product growth with his lizard optimization keynote. Other speakers include, for example, Sven Dietz, who's challenging everything we know about software development by literally ditching contracts and estimates. Can you imagine? His teams deliver software before their competitors are even done with the contract negotiation. How agile is that? But there's more. We'll cover engineering practices in our developer track with talks on, for example, AI-assisted test-driven development, developing products in minutes with a different approach to how we develop, configure, deploy platforms, and much more. We also have a product track where we cover cutting-edge ideas around product discovery, delighting customers with product delight frameworks. We'll have a talk about that. And we also have an agile business track where we will talk about, for example, open strategy, a very agile approach to managing organizations and delivering software faster to clients, faster than you can even write a contract, literally. I mean, I already told you about Sven Dietz's story. It's amazing. It definitely is a must-see. I'm sure you'll be inspired and get a lot of ideas for your own software projects and software delivery. Now, whether you're a business leader, a product innovator, or a developer, you'll definitely find value in our 3 focused tracks. That's Agile Business for those working with businesses and organizations, Agile Product for product managers, product owners, and innovators, and Agile Developer for the builders making Agile work in practice, the coders, the testers, the designers, the producers, the Scrum Masters, you name it. If you join, you will meet over 200 Agile professionals from all over the world. People who, just like you, want to grow, want to share, and want to learn by challenging the ideas that don't work anymore. At the Global Agile Summit, you'll get new connections, fresh ideas, and the energy to take your own Agile to the next level. And who knows, maybe even find your next career opportunity. So don't miss out. Check out the full program and grab your ticket now at globalagilesummit.com. I'm really looking forward to seeing you all in Tallinn, Estonia in May. I'll see you there.